went in the Navy, and I built a family there that I never really had before because I was kind of passed around. I mean, my adopted parents, they loved me, but they divorced a year after they adopted me, maybe 2 years after they adopted me. So I was kind of passed around to different family members because unfortunately my dad was a Vietnam vet, alcoholic. A lot of the people came back. There's no appreciation for them, turned to alcohol. So they couldn't really raise me. So I was raised by just different families. But once I hit the Navy, it's like I had a permanent family, man. And we did a lot together, saw 36 countries, went to, Iraq, like in 91, we were one of the first ships on site there when we started the Desert Storm. I was there for Desert Wash, Desert Storm. But man, it was just a time, and I'm still, thanks to the Facebook phenomenon, I can still stay in touch with all my shipmates that I served with, and it's like family. So that's my story with the Navy. Would never change a thing. I'm glad I wasn't good in school so I could have that experience, because the connections that I've made with the Navy is better than anything I could have ever imagined.
Welcome to the RockstarsRocking podcast, powered by Voluntary Disruption, a show dedicated to people who are crushing their business and life goals. These are bite-sized conversations with leading rock stars in their respective industry who are pumped to share their story to help drive you to the next level. So, are you ready to rock? Speaking of rock stars, here's your host, Eric Silverman.
Hey, rock stars, welcome back to another rockin' episode of the RockstarsRocking podcast. I'm Eric Silverman, and I am so fired up to have the rock star of all rock stars on my show today, Scott Fergie Ferguson. What up, brother?
What's going on, Mr. Silverback himself? How are you?
I am doing incredible, living the dream, the quintessential dream. Listen, for those that don't know Fergie, he is the host of the extraordinary Time to Shine Today podcast, and where he coins the term level up and remember our troops, which we're going to dig deep into, I promise. He's also the managing director of the Ferguson Real Estate Team, luxury real estate, might I add. And he is a veteran, a U.S. Navy veteran. So thank you for your service, Fergie.
Appreciate that, brother.
Speaking of Navy, I wanted to dive right in, if you don't mind. I come from a long list of military background, not so long, but long enough. And coincidentally enough, Navy, actually. My dad, my uncle, many other family members, and my brother, although my brother, he's a renegade, he's rogue. He just, quote unquote, to piss off my father, I kid you not, decided to go into the Marines of all places. So he is a jarhead. Otherwise, he would have been Navy. But I guess him and my father weren't seeing eye to eye at that moment. But nonetheless, we always thank folks for their service. Thank you. But I'm curious for you. You could have gone into any branch of the military. Why the Navy? And more specific, why the military in general?
Again, thanks for having me, Eric. Real quick, it kind of goes back to my origin story I was born in the Philippines. My father was an American GI. My mom was Filipino. My father got killed. I would end up being a bastard child. And at that time, they were taking male mixed breeds and shipping them to Spain because Spain controls the Philippine Islands, because they're afraid that someone grows up that I'm 6'1", around 260. Not a little dude, and there's other Americans that were mixed breeding with them, and they were growing big, and they were afraid that they were going to take over the country. So instead of me being taken from my mom, I actually had an Air Force couple that was going to adopt me. So they started the process, brought me back to the United States, and what happened is the woman who was going to adopt me, her father got sick, dies, she goes schizophrenic. They can't raise me, so they dropped me in an orphanage.
Wow.
Went to an orphanage for about 18 months, almost 2 years. My family, who I call my mom and dad now, adopted me. And this is back in the 70s. So I'm dark skinned, they're white. And so it was a kind of a big deal for them to adopt a darker skinned child, but they raised me as a Ferguson. And my whole family was really into athletics. And so I got into athletics, and, I was pretty good wrestler and a pretty decent baseball player. And what happened was I decided the grade point average of 1.8 was good enough. Well, colleges did. So my dad's like, listen, dude, I didn't raise you to fail. You need to figure something out. If you stay here, you're going to pay rent after high school. You're going to do something. So literally I went and got went in the Navy. I was just like, man, where can I go where I can travel and see the world? And actually, I didn't want to be a Marine. I mean, the Marines are a department of the Navy, so that's your brother, although they're the men's department, I call them that. I mean, they're badasses. So, I mean,
he'll hear it.
Yeah, they're the badasses. But, I went in the Navy and I built a family there that I never really had before because I was kind of passed around. I mean, my adopted parents, they loved me, but they divorced a year after they adopted me, maybe 2 years after they adopted me. So I was kind of passed around to different family members because unfortunately my dad was a Vietnam vet, alcoholic. A lot of the people came back. There's no appreciation for them, turned to alcohol. So they couldn't really raise me. So I was raised by just different families. But once I hit the Navy, it's like I had a permanent family, man. And we did a lot together, saw 36 countries, went to, Iraq. Like in 91, we were one of the first ships on site there when we started the Desert Storm. I was there for Desert Wash, Desert Storm. But man, it was just a time, and I'm still, thanks to the Facebook phenomenon, I can still stay in touch with all my shipmates that I served with, and it's like family. So that's my story with the Navy. Would never change a thing. I'm glad I wasn't good in school so I could have that experience because the connections that I've made with the Navy is better than anything I could have ever imagined.
That's awesome. That's an incredible story. Now I'm curious. You've been to so many freaking countries. That's awesome. What was your favorite country? And dare you even say what was your least favorite country?
Favorite country by far was Singapore. It's amazing. They were starting to Americanize at the time, but it's so clean. I mean, they were so strict. Like you couldn't even chew gum in the city in Singapore because they would actually arrest you. I mean, they keep the place clean, immaculate, but the nightlife is fantastic. The sights are fantastic. And probably the least desirable place I probably went to, which now is a tourist attraction, is Dubai. I went there when it was just a desert.
Really?
Nothing going on. But we still went in, and it was during Ramadan. So everyone's bowing down the streets. And I was just kind of like, what? And I wasn't really into that at the time. Now I've been back twice socially, and Dubai is awesome. But at the time, Dubai was just like, we're going to Dubai. We got to go to Australia, Singapore, Busan, South Korea, Pattaya Beach, Thailand. I mean, we got to see a lot of good stuff because we were a flagship. It means we had an admiral on board. So we got to see a lot of things, but, by far, Singapore is my favorite.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I would have not predicted Singapore or Dubai for both of those answers, quite frankly, particularly because everybody says Dubai is incredible.
Now it's awesome.
Yeah, you said it was many years ago, so by all means.
Yeah, this is 1990. Yeah.
So let me transition here. So you've been in real estate, luxury real estate, and so forth for quite a long time. Why real estate? So was the pattern you left the Navy, went into real estate? I do see a lot of military and a lot of folks with an athletic background go into sales, in your case, real estate. Why real estate? And tell us about that.
When I got out of the Navy, I'd already been a certified personal trainer, so I was training people. And so while I was in the Navy, I would train people at San Diego State University. I was training. And so when I got out, I was immediately moved back to Detroit from San Diego. I don't know why, but began training people.
Wait. You left San Diego to go to Detroit? You do know the winters in Detroit versus San Diego year round, right?
I was married at the time, and her family wanted us back. And we're still great friends, Amy and I. But, at the time, she's like, I want to go home. And so it's like, all right, went home. And then started personal training. So I personal trained people in the morning, and I'd bounce or bartend at night. And a lot of the people would come in and be like, what do you want to do? Do you want a personal train? I'd be like, man, I watch all these Carlton Sheets infomercials at 1, 2 in the morning when I'm getting home from the bar from working, and I want to buy property, no money down. And they're like, bro, it doesn't happen that way. Why don't you go get your real estate license? I had a gentleman, Gary Shapiro. He's a Jewish guy. I affectionately call him my mentor, but he's also my Hebrew hammer. He's awesome. So he really educated me in finance, and he would tell me, go out and find a property, and we'd buy it because get your real estate license. So when I got my real estate license, I was like, this is easy. A lot of people, the hunting is what turns them off from being a realtor. Like they can sell their mom a house or their best friend a house, but they can't sell anybody else a house. So I ended up becoming a real estate agent. And I would grind, man. I'd dial for dollars every morning. I would do like 4 open houses a weekend, like 11 to 1 and then 2 to 4 on Saturday and Sunday in the knee deep snow. And I built up a business within 2 years that, at the time in Michigan, I was doing like 10 million a year. That's a lot in sales. And so it was just that was the thing. I just fell in love with it. You know, personal training fell off, work in the nightlife fell off, and I affectionately call it stuck with real estate since 1999.
That's awesome. I love the story of, hunting is tough and, but the reality, and this by now, so many people in various industries, hunting's tough in any industry, sales.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I do insurance for a living. This podcast stuff is a side hustle just for fun. And
Right.
it's always tough, and you got to dial for dollars, and you got to have relationships and play that game. So that's certainly a good lesson. And I had to make a note so I didn't forget. So your mentor, the Hebrew Hammer, it's funny. We were talking about my brother. I'm going to have to make sure he listens to this one because he calls himself the Hebrew Hammer. That's his Facebook page for his business. He sells cars for a living these days. And he always says, come see the hammer. So anyway, it's just a small world when you say stuff like that.
I love it.
So let me ask you a question. Why podcasting? Because you got this mega podcast. Like, I look up to guys like you specifically. Like, dude, this podcast for me, I started last year just for fun. I've had it on my mind. I love talking to rock stars about what they're doing in their business and personal life and how they're crushing goals and having fun. But, I don't even have plans to do much with it other than just meet great people and network and build a community, right? But your podcast I've researched, and you were generous enough to have me on. It's like ridiculous in the most positive, great way ever. Like, why a podcast, and how are you putting it on steroids so fast?
Thanks for asking about it. I appreciate all the kind words too. I interview, I'm in terrestrial radio, an FM radio station here in South Florida. I got the face for radio. If anyone's watching, you'll understand why. But no, I interview like millionaires, billionaires here in South Florida. I live in Palm Beach, and basically I get them to come into the studio and really talk to them about helping people level up. And I do it for a real estate reason, because those people can connect me to other people that buy luxury houses, but I give them airtime so they can pub themselves out. And I've had Time to Shine Today for 10 years, and it's really an affiliate marketing platform where companies send me product to be able to send to my list of almost 80,000 subscribers. And if I do a review, I like it, I'll send it to my list, and the list will buy it, and I get paid an affiliate commission for it, right? So like, I was in the studio, and the producer, he's like, Fergie, man, why don't you have a podcast for your Time to Shine Today? Because my Time to Shine Today sponsors my radio show, right? And I was like, that's I've never thought about it. So it's not
a bad idea.
Yeah. So I launched it December 19th of 2019. We're about 190 episodes in, just shy of, well, actually, I don't know. I'll have to check with Donnie, but we're coming up, or just went over for 500,000 listens. Which is awesome. I get to interview awesome people like yourself. And we're set up on a platform to where we do a lot of marketing out to people to come into the Time to Shine Today family to level up. And I'm able to put that podcast that I did with, say, Eric Silverman, with somebody that's in the insurance business, really ready to level up, put you guys together. And then me and you put together a handshake deal that if they come into your program, maybe we can work something out. So it's everything I do really is an affiliate marketing platform. But the thing is we don't want to have anybody to feel like they have nobody. That's the biggest thing. I mean, I had a guy reach out to me directly because I interviewed a suicide counselor. Whoa. And, and my little brother killed himself in 2009. So it's really close to my heart. And he reached out and was like, man, I'm just not feeling, I don't know if I want to go on. And I heard this guy. So I immediately put him together with this person, and he's still alive. So, which is pretty awesome. I'm able to give until it hurts so good, but still be open to reciprocity of coming in and make mine. I'm doing that in air quotes if you're watching on YouTube, through, affiliate commissions that I set up with my interviewees that do. So it's a win-win when we give phenomenal content for free across the board. We interview people for free. We give away, I do ask for a $10 nominal, donation to the Suicide Prevention Lifeline. But other than that, we do it for free, and it all comes back to us in the end. And it has in spades, because we did over 200,000 in coaching commissions for people that I've interviewed, or it's coaches and consultant commissions. So, and that's just in 14 months. This year, we're shooting for about between 400 and 500,000 in coaching commissions.
Wow. So now, do you remind me here, or tell my audience, which pales in comparison, but by all means, I appreciate them so very much. Tell us, how many podcasts a week do you launch, or do you put out there?
We drop 3 to 4 a week, usually Tuesday to Friday. And then I interview 5 people a week on Thursdays because I used to want to interview people different days, but my bandwidth energy level is just enough to where I interview 4 or 5 people on Friday or on Thursdays. And then that way I'm done for the week. So that's the way that we're doing it. I'm always looking for solid interviews. If you're somebody out there that's listening that has a product or a service, or you're a coach that wants to get your people out there and you're a go-giver, then yeah, please.
I love it. And I'm glad to hear that I'm doing something right, because we're recording this on a Tuesday. My day is Tuesday. I've already done 3 today, and I got a couple more later this afternoon.
Nice.
So I guess I'm doing it right. And I was going to ask you, so I'm glad you mentioned that if anybody, if you had a specific type of person or guest, and by all means, you heard it there first before I even asked the question, everybody, if you think you have an idea or something that would resonate well with Fergie's incredible audience, hit him up, right? Hit him
Absolutely.
up.
Yes.
Don't be offended if he says no, but hit him up. You got to swing the bat to hit the ball, right, brother?
That's it.
Speaking of that, you said you used to play baseball. Is that your favorite sport these days, or what's your favorite sport?
Dude, honestly, like wrestling, I know it's weird, but I love the attention that wrestling is getting on the Big Ten network, the ACC network. I'm huge, I'm a Michigan State fan, but I'm a huge like Penn State and Iowa wrestling team fan. And I record and I watch all the matches. I keep up on it. So wrestling's kind of my thing. I grapple here in South Florida. And it's a mix between grappling and jiu-jitsu and judo and stuff like that.
Mental note, don't mess with Fergie. Got it.
I don't know about that, but it's funny. I just had a 19-year-old 2 weeks ago whip my butt like bad. It was just kind of crazy. It was a lot of fun, but it's a sport where you stand alone and you can only rely on what you have and your skills. And I love that, but baseball is the ultimate chess match. And I played it at a pretty decent level. And I absolutely love watching. I can sit through a baseball game, watch every pitch, because again, it's a chess match between that batter and the pitcher and the catcher calling it. It's, to me, baseball and wrestling are my 2 jams. And I don't turn off football. I don't turn off any sport for that matter. I watched the cornhole championship.
I've done that. ESPN. It's captivating. Like I can't look away.
So I watch anything that has to do with sports, but wrestling is my thing, and in baseball also.
That's awesome. Well, I'm only baseball. I think I've told you before. I always have a baseball on my desk 24/7. I represent my Orioles, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah,
very
I'm
bad.
the Tigers, man. So
it is what it is. Tigers, no doubt. And down in South Florida, Miami used to be in that category, but they're up and coming and getting big. So let me ask you this, and I want to start closing this out, but I do want to ask, because you talk about the military and you talked about the suicide prevention and so forth, which is incredible. Dude, mental health is such a big deal that I feel like doesn't get the attention it needs and deserves. Not just the military, of course, which is huge, but just in general. My wife is a mental health counselor. She's a social worker, a psychotherapist, master's degree. And I just total respect for folks that help mental health and folks that have the ability to realize how important it is to open up and talk about it. Do you find that to be something of value that sadly a lot of our military vets and folks that come back are dealing with, I imagine?
Yeah, bro, it's big. And I'm involved in a couple different programs about people transitioning out of the military and into civilian life and what they're going through. I mean, I'm not afraid to say I see Dr. Gold at the mental hygiene clinic once a month, man. Just to keep me right. Because I did happen to unfortunately see a lot of things and do a lot of things that still 30 years later almost. I mean, that's, well, 23 years later, I'm still, kind of dealing with, but I absolutely push mental hygiene as much as I can if you need it. And that's where we at Time to Shine today, we're setting up foundations to set up if you're in the military, we'll put you together with your mental hygiene. We call them technicians. We're trying to take the stigma away from PTSD and stuff. It's real, but you have like mental hygiene is how I like to see it, because we can really help you. You're never really cured, but we can help you through it. And that's what we do at Time to Shine today. That's why I don't demand a donation, but I strongly ask for one. And again, my little brother, Tommy, took his life in 2009, a veteran, and it really resonated big time with me. And that happened right during the crash, real estate crash. So my life fell apart for 2.5 years. It was the nuttiest thing. But, you know, I had some Christian dudes that really helped me out, gave me some good reading material, gave me some like really good people to talk to at New Hope. And then they really kind of ran it back into the mental hygiene at the military. And I've just been a patient since 2011. You know, so
no, I totally agree. And, you know, I can't honestly say I can't say I'd have that feeling necessarily had I not been married for the last 20 years to somebody in the field. And it's taught me a lot over the years. It didn't take long. And I think it's so super valuable and incredible and important that folks, regardless of their background, military or not, understand that they need to just talk to somebody, some third party person that they can rely on and trust, who can be a sounding board. So,
especially during this time, Eric, you know, with COVID, it's like, man, loneliness kills, you know. I mean, just ask older people. They'll live for Christmas. Once Christmas is done, some people die just from natural causes. I mean, loneliness kills. They don't have that. And we're here at Time to Shine today, you know, our credo, our tagline is we don't want to have anyone to feel like they have no one. And that's the truth. No matter where you're at in life, you're looking to level up your business, we have your people. If you're down and out, we have your people. We have a plethora of people here that are ready to help you.
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on. Tell everybody how they can find you. What's your favorite social media platform? Let us know your website, both for real estate connections and for the podcast.
Yeah, the real estate edge website is agentferguson.com or palmbeachcountyhomepros.com. They both go to the same site. And then timetoshinetoday.com. And if you want to throw /podcast, because we're really podcast driven on that site. And then LinkedIn, like yourself, I think I met you there.
Right.
And that's my real social media. We put stuff out on Instagram, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. LinkedIn is my jam. I get to connect with people like yourself and others that can really help others level up.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm exactly the same. And for those listening, anywhere you consume podcasts, or if you're kind enough to be watching our ugly built for radio faces on YouTube, don't worry, it's in the show notes. All of his contact information, websites will be right in the show notes. Of course, I know enough to do that. And ultimately, any parting shots, any words of wisdom before we head out?
You know what, man? A really good buddy said to me the other day, man, Fergie, do it for the intention, not the attention. And that's how it really rocks. So that's my latest learning journal quote I put in there, and it just really stands out. So people out there, you know, there is help, and also to do it for the intention, not the attention.
That's a great quote. I love it. Thank you for sharing. As I'm sure you would say, if you're not already going to say, level up, remember our troops. I couldn't agree more. For everybody behind the scenes at the Rockstars Rocking podcast, because I just show up and hit record. Maybe.
Thanks, people. Thanks, people.
But for everybody behind the scenes, on behalf of them and myself, I'm Eric Silverman. That is Scott Fergie Ferguson. If you're listening, please subscribe. Leave us a review. 5 stars would totally rock. And until next time, make it a great day. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Fergie.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Rockstars Rocking podcast. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. And if you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. 5 stars would totally rock. Until next time, rock stars, keep rocking.